Hey YouTube, it's been a while since I've done a video. Had a lot going on this summer, so we're going to get the camera here in a minute. We're going to take a walk around and do updates on several things and talk a little bit about what we got going on and everything. I don't know how many videos I'm going to turn it into, but probably more than one, hopefully less than 4 or 5. First though, I wanted to talk a little bit about a trip I took here just a couple weeks ago. Drove out to West Virginia, out to the Permaethos farm there. If you're not familiar with Permaethos, I'm going to put a link down in the description box below. I'm taking my permaculture design certification course through them as a founding member. The initial class of the PDC are the founding members of that farm as a showcase of permaculture. And they've done several workshops since they opened up there last year. And this was an opportunity for me to go out and kind of learn about one of the things was swale building using a 2-bottom plow on the tractor. We did some other stuff, you know, butchering a hog, butchering ducks, things like that. There's a lot of stuff on knife making and beekeeping and all kinds of good stuff, you know, for your homestead. And it was just a good opportunity to get out and kind of learn some things I didn't know about, things I wanted to know more about, and meet a whole lot of like-minded people, you know, that are all into guns and knives and all that cool kind of tactical stuff, but also into growing their own food and just trying to make you know, a better life for themselves and their families. So it was a good opportunity to go and meet all those folks and hear about what all they're doing and talk about what we're doing, and just find that there's a lot of people out there who's got a lot in common with us. So one of the things while we were out there, just to kind of throw out a little personal story. While I was there, of course, Mrs. Tactical Homesteader was here by herself during that week, taking care of all the animals and everything we got going on here. And our well pump went out, and so she was without running water for about 2.5 days. And when you're running a homestead out here like this, you know, that's an eternity if you don't have any water. Having the, if you watch the previous videos we've done, you know I've got the rain catchment system that we installed off the garage shop building that holds about 3,000 gallons or a little more. So that water was available for her to be able to take care of the animals during that time while we were waiting on someone to get out here and be able to install a new well pump. And then in addition, we store, you know, 2-liter bottles of water in our pantry and various other places in the house and everything, just in case something like this would happen. You know, it wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't zombies, the undead coming back to life and coming to get us. America didn't collapse or anything like that. It's just a personal disaster, you know, that affected us, and would have been very hard for her to deal with, especially with me being out of town, had those preparedness items not been in place. So it was just kind of a story I wanted to tell, and just to let you know that some of that stuff does pay off. So don't lose focus and make sure you're doing what you need to do to take care of your family. All right, let's go ahead and get into some of the things that we got going on. So first, I've got the stuff here behind me, the plants that these were the leftovers that didn't go in the garden. I've got them running off the drip irrigation off of the water tanks, and they've grown real good. Now I had the over here on the left side, I had some strawberry bulbs that had been planted and a couple of raspberries, and they didn't take off. They were dead, and we didn't get anything out of that. But I went ahead and got another couple of cucumbers and a tomato plant in there to see if we couldn't get something growing in those pots. But over here, these guys have taken off and grown really good. You know, if you watched any of my garden videos, seed starting videos from this spring, you know that we got a late start and everything with all the rain that we had, you know, dealing with the rocky soil in the garden as well. And you know, my garden just hasn't taken off like I wanted it to. These are the leftovers. They were smaller than the ones that went in the garden, and by far they're the biggest. And they're about ready to start putting tomatoes on now, so hopefully we'll get something out of them pretty soon. All right, guys, here's the garden. You can see we got a lot of grass there in the rows and in between the plants and everything. I went with a clover to kind of use as a ground cover to be able to keep the the ground from being exposed and everything, and instead of having to mulch this 50 by 100 foot area that I've done the garden in. And you know, the clover, it grew some, but then the grass really took off in there, especially with all the rain that we had. And it's just been a nightmare for me. I've been in there weed eating about once a week or so to keep it knocked down, trying to weed eat in between the plants and everything. It's going to be the tomato plants we've got over there. They're all growing pretty good. They're a little behind the others, but you know, I went ahead and got some Garrett juice, and I'll put a link to that in the description below, that I got off of Amazon. But that's just a mixture of compost tea. It's got some molasses in it. What else does it have in it? I'm just drawing a blank on it right now. But I went ahead and got the Garrett Juice Plus, which also has fish emulsion in it. And it seems like I've gotten a lot of good growth since I went ahead and mixed that up last week and sprayed everything down. It'll be time to come out and go ahead and run the lines across and go ahead and start trellising those tomato plants pretty soon. Pepper plants I'm disappointed in, even after having sprayed them. Oh, sorry for kicking the camera there. Even after having sprayed them with the Garrett juice and everything last week, I've still not seen much growth there. You know, it's just everything else, all the grass and everything growing around. There's not a whole lot of nutrients out here in this soil. So I know I've got a lot of soil health work to do over the next couple of years here in order to get everything built up. Our cucumbers, we've gotten a handful of cucumbers, and we actually put our first jar of pickles up here a couple of days ago, and we just did a quick pickle recipe, and they were all delicious. Handful of squash and stuff. We've already got some squash bugs attacking a couple of the plants, so hopefully we'll be able to get some squash and zucchini before too long. Beans, haven't done hardly anything at all. The grass has grown up in there with them, and just not very good production out of them so far. So hopefully they'll take off here before too long and start working for us. Sunflowers, man, my soil loves sunflowers. These guys don't take much to grow, even when everything else doesn't want to. So not much to say about that. And then the rest of it over here, you know, we've just got a bunch of grass and weeds and everything growing. You know, found it it's kind of tedious to get in here and try to weed eat around the corn. It's starting to take off a little bit, but not as much as I would like. And then of course down there is where I planted the okra. Didn't get any okra. Last year I had more okra than what we knew what to do with, and this year nothing. I had some seeds that I had saved from last year from the actual okra that we harvested and we dried out. We actually had some seeds left over that I got that we had used to plant last season. Threw some of them down, and then I bought new seeds this year from High Mowing Seeds, and none of them took off as well. So we had, you know, 3 different seed bases there, and didn't get anything. And just got a bunch of growth over there that's you know, not happy about. So anyways, this is a lesson learned for me. We're still going to get a pretty decent harvest, I think. You know, some of our vegetables, you know, it'll definitely be enough for us to eat. I don't know that there'll be enough for us to worry about going to a farmer's market and selling or anything like that. Probably just for us and family and stuff. But my plan is for next year, I'll try to back up and get a little wider look, is I'm going to spend a lot of time finishing up my design for my property that I've been working on. And all this next year, we'll probably go ahead and take this fence back down and move it in this direction a little bit, and widen this area up. And I'm just going to go ahead and figure out where the contour lines are in this area, and dig a series of mini swales through here. I'm going to get a PTO driven wood chipper. We've got wood down all over the property. Our property, you can see the trees behind, it's entirely encircled with you know, very high canopied hardwood trees and everything. So plenty of down wood in order to be able for us to use for mulch. And so we're going to dig some mini swales, build some mounds, and we'll get a little bit of perennials planted in there, some bushes and things like that. And then we'll do our annuals in and amongst all that, and hopefully that'll help us, you know, be able to build the soil a little bit better, have the mulch down to be able to control the weeds and the undesirables, and focus on growing what we want. All right, let's go. I'm probably going to end this right here. Coming up, we're going to talk about the chickens and our rabbits and our goats.